The Reds were 20-30 not that long ago. They are now 32-34. Is this the team that we all thought they'd be? Is this just a team on an incredible hot streak as started against Los Angeles right here at GABP? Then you got to play Colorado in that fun park they have, and the offense is just all the way back? Or is this just one of those streaks you see? We've had a cold streak, and maybe this is just a hot streak. What do you think this is? What do you think we're seeing right now from the Reds?
It's funny you asked me that, because I had that exact title, or I guess kind of vibe, article written and posted today, and I had the exact same thought. Is this the turning point where you look back at the end of the year and say, oh man, they swept the Dodgers, 7-game winning streak against okay talent and bad talent, Cubs, not Rockies, and then it's okay, here's the momentum they needed. Is this kind of, we hit rock bottom, now what's the climb? Is the climb, oh my gosh, historical, awesome, they'll write a book about this season? Or is it, okay, we're 500, we took some steps forward, some steps backwards, but still building good going into next year? Or is it just something we forget about in August? Oh yeah, we won 7 games, but and that's the thing about winning streaks that's tough. You play 162 games, you're going to have streaks no matter what. You either win or you lose. So I know it's not a 50-50 chance, but if I flipped a coin 162 times, I'll have some streaks in there too.
Yeah.
And I get the percentages there, but I think you get what I'm trying to say. So to me, it really depends. This week specifically is a big measuring stick, and it's not, oh, you have to win all 5 games against Guardians and Brewers or else you're done. It's, how do we look in those games? I'm on the team.
Yeah.
Is it really embarrassing and we're really far away and, oh man, this isn't what we thought it would be? Or is it kind of a, hey, we held our own, we won some, and we're competitive this week? I think it's a huge week in the season, as big as a week can be in mid-June.
I think you're right, and I think people get confused. There's the fan base that says, you're not built for 162, and it's because you overreact, and I'm guilty of it for sure, of overreacting to losses that happen. A bad 9th inning game. My whole thing is what you said. It's that how do they look? How are they looking? And offensively, for a month and a half, they looked like the world's worst baseball team. It's how they looked. I didn't care if they won or lost. I just want them to be competitive, and that's really my mantra for every season the Reds play. Just be competitive. Be there towards September. Get me into somewhat of contention. Look good. Have fun. Make the baseball games exciting. And they've done that over the past couple weeks for sure. Moving on to Graham Ashcraft real quick. I don't think anybody thought that he was going to get sent down, especially this early in the season. I don't think this is the last we've seen of him. But do you think this is going to be the last we've seen of him for a while? Because I think Carson Spires right now is the hot hand. If you had to pick between the two, and with Brandon Williamson coming back, he certainly has lost that 5th spot. When do you think is the next time we'll see Graham Ashcraft?
I just think it's time for Ashcraft to go to the bullpen. That's what I think. I know they probably won't right now, but the thing with Ashcraft is he doesn't have enough pitches that move in different directions. Yeah. Right, so they're moving in the same direction. He really needs to either have another additional pitch, or he needs to go to the bullpen and have his stuff play up. Can he get to 98 to 100? Can he then have a secondary offering? Because you don't need that many pitches out of the bullpen. So I personally think that was kind of the long-term plan with him now. I think he's kind of reached a point where it's okay, you've had a year and a half or 2.5 years, I guess, now of starting. Yeah. It's been okay. It's not awful. It was at points last year. But he could be a really good bullpen arm. So, why not do that? Inexpensive control, all that stuff we love to throw around as a cheap team, and that can be it. Like you said, Carson Spires really impressed, and he was a guy I kind of thought was okay, yeah, he'll be fine to have around, and he's completely proven me wrong. He looks much better. Now, I'm not saying hold up, trade louder because we have Carson Spires or anything like that, but I think they can afford to move Graham to the bullpen. Williamson and Spires can hold down the rotation depth 5 spot for now. Nick Martinez is still there. And if, it looks bad at the deadline, you move somebody, whatever happens, like Louder could potentially, depending on how things go with him, be able to fill in as well. Like let's say there's a September injury or whatever, and you're struggling. If you're out of it doesn't really matter either way. Give my boy Randy Wynn in Louisville a start. Why not?
I agree. Did he play 1 game last year or 2? Oh no! What a freeze!
That's an incredible. Oh, there it is.
That's a good one.
What happened?
We got you. No, you froze for 1 second. It was a very funny freeze. What you said? It was just 1 game. You said?
Yeah, I believe it was 1 game, and he's pitched well. He's like 31 years old. Just kind of like, I really want to talk to him and just kind of like hear how that lifestyle is. I know there's been a million things written like that, but I always find each individual story so interesting. Like, what drives you to come to the ballpark every day and make little money and have poor accommodations just to chase this dream?
One minor leaguer that I wanted to talk about real quick is a guy I think a lot of people thought maybe would come up to the Reds this season if everything was right, if somebody got injured for a little bit. Connor Phillips. I don't know what happened to Connor Phillips. He has a 9 ERA through 12 starts down in the minors. Is this just one of the world's worst seasons? Is it injury related? Is it mental health related? I can't ask you to speak on something you don't know about, but what's going on with our guy Connor Phillips? Because this seems to be a lost season completely.
I think the red flags are just gotten worse. Like, I think we kind of looked past them because we see highlights on Twitter, and in the lower minors, his stuff's gross. Like, it is absolutely gross. Lower minors, he would not be able to locate it, work back into the count with the fastball because they couldn't hit his fastball. Gets higher up in the organization, the control is just not there. The command is awful. He's not able to work back with the fastball at the higher levels. The players are better. The majors, like right now, he has no major league value at this point, like for this season. Like, I don't see him as an option this year at all. I think it's time to like send him to Arizona, like the development list, like get him right. If it is a mental health thing, obviously we have no idea, and I'm not about to speculate saying this is in between his, that's totally inappropriate. But if that's the case, like, get him in a position where he can just focus. I think Brandon Finnegan, if I remember right, had a situation where he kind of like was removed from affiliated team ball and like kind of worked on some things, and they tried to get him straightened out. But right now, like, if you don't have enough command, like, okay, try him as a reliever. That's typically the route. And if that doesn't work, like, sorry, like, it's not going to be the first time. And I know that there's kind of the civil war on Reds Twitter of prospects, trading, keeping, all that stuff. And they'll take a victory lap here. But I don't think his career is, like, over or anything like that. Like, I don't think there's zero chance. But in terms of this season, like, I just don't possibly see how he can get to a point where you could trust him at the major league level.
I agree. And I think there's a couple names above him already that I would
and they're climbing faster. I mean, he is falling extremely fast in that organizational depth chart. I couldn't care less where he is on, top prospect, Reds list. Like, doesn't matter at all because we've seen him get passed over. And I bet you just off the top of my head, 4 or 5 minor league guys I'd rather see before him.
You spoke about command there. One guy that I think is still having issue with his command, and a guy that I don't know whether or not I can trust anymore, is Alexis Diaz. He's pitched better over his last 5 games, but saying that, it's been a bad season for our guy Alexis Diaz. He's still your closer, I think. But moving forward, is there a chance the Reds look to ship him? If they're competitive enough at the deadline, maybe he can warrant some value from what he's done in the past. You'd obviously be selling low. But do you trust Alexis Diaz going forward as the closer of the Cincinnati Reds?
He is a very frustrating pitcher for the obvious reasons. If you've watched one Alexis Diaz start, you may say, this guy's the best pitcher ever. Holy crap. If you've watched 2 outings, not starts. If you've watched 2, you're thinking, who the hell is this guy? Like, he can be on and off that way.
Yeah.
To me, you just keep him and you just maybe change the situation he's thrown in. We saw that with his brother in New York, actually, but I don't think there's any reason to trade him. First, relief pitchers rarely get much in return at all.
Correct.
Rarely. And second off, like, you're selling low. It just doesn't make sense to me. Like, bring him back. Like, we've seen bullpen arms have up and down years, left and right and left and right. It's not that. Now, like you said, though, the command is the issue with him. How do you improve that? I just don't think he will. Like, he just hasn't throughout his career in the minors. Like, I don't really know. Like, you don't want to recreate him and, like, try to make him something he's not. But it's going to be really tough to get him, especially with, like, the way he throws. Like, I don't know. I just don't see, like, mechanically, and I'm not a pitching coach, believe it or not, but I really don't know, like, how you fix that, especially in a short amount of time.
I agree with you, and hopefully he becomes the guy that he was at the beginning of last season, beginning to the middle of last season. But I don't know, I don't see it. As we wind down, Clay, thank you very much for coming on. MLB and Reds contributor for, again, Just Baseball Media. Go follow them on Twitter. Go read all of their articles. They do great work. I got two questions, and I got one Tigers question for you, because you are the greatest Tigers reporter in the history of the world. The National League, it's pretty bad. I don't know if it's been this bad in a long time. I'm looking at the wild card teams, and it seems like they're all kind of the same type of team. None of them are really that good. Could you really see any of them winning a World Series? Probably not. But what's the magic number to get that final wild card spot this year? Coming into it, I would have said 87. I think right now it's like 83. I think 83 gets into the postseason.
It's that meme that's like Battle of Mid.
Yeah.
That people use on Twitter. Like, this is the time to use it. Like, there are so many mediocre to okay baseball teams in the National League, and it's kind of sad. I think it was yesterday, that 20 teams were under 500.
Oh yeah,
in the entire league. It's not at a point where it's like, oh, baseball's bad, we need to be concerned, like, everyone sucks and these owners and whatnot, but it is a little concerning that there's just, like, not stronger rosters in the National League. I look at someone like the Giants, and I'm just kind of like, not great. And then you look at Arizona, and, like, yeah, they're exciting, and you young, like, okay. But at the end of the day, there's just not a whole lot going on there, and maybe that's obviously going to be in the Reds' favor.
Yeah,
84. I think it'll be a little bit higher. Keep in mind, this time of year starts to warm up mid-June through the rest of the summer. Usually offense picks up. So I'm going to go 86.
86 is still pretty high. Okay, that's fair. I got one more Reds question. It is, who has been your MVP through 66 games of this season? I'll give the caveat just for the sake of entertainment. You can't say Elly De La Cruz.
Okay. MVP. Oh, gosh. Hunter Greene. I don't know why my mind defaulted towards, like, somebody in the lineup, but
yeah,
Hunter Greene, and really you can say a few guys in the rotation, but I just think he's taken that step forward and kind of solidified, instead of it being every third start's really good, or once a month, or here's kind of up and down, half of first part of a start's good, second part's bad, or whatever. He just is more consistent. And this is something I always say about pitchers. Go look at the first few years of their career and how much they all change. Pitch usage, pitch mix, tunneling, like all kinds of arm slots. Like, things change a lot as you're learning how to adapt at the major league level. And I think he's found it, and he's starting to hit his grooves right now. So I'll go with Greene.